This is Stuck in the Middle. I'm Geordie Paul and I'm all in.
I'm Andy Man and I'm all in.
Are you all in?
Question 4.
Question 4.
Question number 2.
Alright everyone.
Hey up me ducks.
Welcome back to Stuck in the Middle. As you can see, we are wearing different clothing. He's got a new haircut. We didn't have a chance to film the rest of the episode because Andy's been really ill, Liam's been really busy with the RAF stuff, and I've had hospital appointments, so we've only just had a chance to get this back in. As we were aware that we let you guys know who Liam was, so son, dad, son. It was fantastic sitting back and watching that the other night. I say the other night, just before. But it was really good to see how you had questions for your dad that I don't even think you were expecting, were you, Andy?
It took everything. It took us all out by surprise because it was all... We didn't expect it to go on as long as it did, the recording and everything else. It just went and went and went, and it was...
I wasn't expecting that level of question from... That's no disrespect to you. It's just no. You said you were really nervous doing the show and things like that, and the stuff that came out was brilliant. So I hope you've all really enjoyed that. We did promise you a takeaway from this episode, which is more of it's advice, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I think. We devised 4 questions and sent them out there and seen if we could get any responses to sort of blended families questions. I'll go over them questions in just a moment. And then what we're going to do is we'll view, there's 1 video, 2 videos.
You've got 1 video, I think. And
I've got 1
both
video.
got a couple of text messages as well.
As you can probably imagine, it's quite delicate at blended family. You're really lucky, I think. I don't think it's as bad, your dynamic from your ex and things like that. But I got the feeling that when I was asking people to do a short video, they want to be anonymous, so that it doesn't cause problems, because people want to be honest in their opinion, and I would imagine that causes a lot of conflict. So I can see why they put the questions down, but we'll get Liam to answer or have his opinion on some of the answers that these guys give. I'll have an opinion, not that I don't live in a blended family, but and then Andy can give you his. So let's go through them questions now. So the 4 questions, before I just read those, who have we got first?
So I've got responses off a good friend of mine, Graham. It was actually Graham who didn't give us the idea so much for the blended family.
Of course, yes.
But he liked the idea of the blended family. When we spoke about it in one of the first episodes, he says, you should do an episode about that. And we was like, oh, we'll have a look and do it, which we did. We wrote it and here we are doing it. So
yeah, we mentioned it at the start of the episode, actually, and said that it was a recommendation, so to speak, from Graham. Oh, that's brilliant. So question 1, how have you adjusted to the changes in the family dynamics since becoming part of a blended family? And what has been the most surprising aspect of the transition?
Right, so Graham's response was, so I went from being single, jumping in the deep end of the pool, by meeting my partner and her 2 kids. At the time, I didn't have any children of my own, and the most surprising aspect was how I had to deal with their behaviour as if I was their dad, which was difficult at first. But the longer that I was part of the family, the easier it got. So I think for him, it was about the kids that was difficult for him. I think it was, okay, I've met my new partner, I'm all loved up, but I don't think the kids kind of took to that so well straight off the bat.
When I'm not in a blended family, so the thing that is in my head there when you say that, when you have your first child.
Yep.
And you're sort of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, there's no book for it, is there? There's no rules. There's no follow this structure. You just whatever. So is that not the same thing?
We're literally thrown in the deep end, like you said.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, even when it comes to having your second child, all you do is try and do what you did with the first child, and it might not have been right. So you don't know as a parent. So jumping in the deep end and having no parental experience whatsoever, it's a lot to take on, isn't it?
Did you say how old? You didn't say how old.
No.
No. So you're older now, Liam. So that dynamic would be maybe a little bit different as well, depending on the age. So if early doors, you're setting boundaries, and I suppose, do you still do that? Is that the case? What was it like for you, Liam, with the parents, the blended family parents? So I'm going to use Tash for an example there. Did she set certain rules? Was it, or did you just kind of go with it, or what?
Well, to be fair, Tash has always been quite laid back. So it's like she doesn't really set
Probably used
rules.
the wrong person there. Tash is brilliant at stuff like that, to be fair.
I was going to say she doesn't really set rules per se, but obviously my dad, he was the kind of one to kind of make the decisions, make the rules about like what was going on at the time. So it's like I obviously went into her house, and there was certain things that I would do at my mum's house that obviously my dad probably wouldn't like happening at Tash's house. So obviously he kind of said to us, he was like, don't do this, don't do that. So I feel like, yeah, again, Tash is a laid back person, but then my dad stepped in.
So he guided you through what he thought was the right thing for you to do.
Yeah.
So you've got Tash's son
Yep.
in that house. Now he does live with you, of course he does.
He does, yeah.
Have you seen, as an outside sort of perspective, how he's had to deal with that? You've got a lot of kids, Andy, to be fair. Like, you're used to dealing with kids, but did you see anything different? Was he acting different with Tash's son as maybe what he had done with you growing up, or?
I wouldn't really say he was acting different per se. I was going to to be fair, I reckon he was quite easy to get into it, I'd say, at first, because obviously it's a big change, and everyone knows it's a big change, kind of bringing yourself into someone else's family. And I feel like my dad kind of started to bring Marley in as his own son, started taking care of him as his dad, obviously being his stepdad, taking care of him as a father would, and giving him that support that he needed and the love that he needed. But obviously for Marley it would have been difficult as well. So bringing, like, obviously accepting my dad as his stepdad, like accepting him to take care of him. So I feel like Marley and my dad both had a big role in kind of accepting each other, but I think they both took it quite well.
So what Graham's saying there, then, the question being, what's the most surprising aspect is how you are. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, it is though, isn't it? Let's be fair. It's not. You're not going to kind of get built into this like gently, are you?
No.
I can imagine at the beginning of the relationship, for Graham, it wasn't a case of this is all about doing this for the kids. It's him and his other half, Vicky. It was a case of, we're going to make this work, but for Graham, like I say, it's been around me for years. It's been around kids for years as well. So under no circumstance am I saying that he's got no parental kind of knowledge whatsoever. But it was all a big jump for him.
Yeah.
Massive jump.
Difficult with your relationship. Right, okay then. So question 2 then. What challenges have you faced in forming relationships with new family members, and how have you navigated them over the past 18 months?
So Graham's response is, the biggest challenge that I faced has to be the fact that I have 2 stepchildren, both from 2 different dads. We never see them or hear from them, so I look after the kids as if I was their own dad. One of the problems I faced as a step-parent is that I think my stepchildren think I don't like them, and I think that they don't like me too at times, and this can make it hard to form a relationship with them.
Okay. So that's that. It's a little bit like what I've been talking about in the vlogs that have been out. This fact or fiction.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I could really say there, thinking about it from my perspective, is he's thinking that they don't like him, maybe by the way that they're acting and stuff like that. That I think it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's very much you have to sort of think: is that true, or is it not?
I mean, I've seen them as a family. I don't see them half as much as I'd like to. They do live a fair distance away. I'm actually going to go and see them tomorrow night.
Oh, there you go.
But they're great as a family. Like the kids, they literally dote on him. It's like you wouldn't tell that they were stepchildren. You really wouldn't. They just mix as a unit really, really well. But I can see where he's coming from with that, because I don't suppose it's so much on there's no evidence of they don't like me.
No.
I think it's more in a case of in his head, what if they don't like me? And what if they think I don't like them? And then are you going to be going out of your way to try and show that you do like them and that you're going to give them more care, more compassion and everything else? Could that change the dynamic again?
Well, that quite nicely leads on to the third question. It's almost the same thing. So how do you manage balancing between your biological family and your new blended family? And has this been a difficult process?
So Graham wrote, for me, this has been easy as I came into the family. Being with them 2-3 years now, and now I have my own son with my partner. My stepchildren was there since day one and since the day he was born, and it helped to build a bond together as a family and build the family stronger, as it meant the stepkids would have stronger connection with me, and it would help me feel better about being a family. So I think what he's basically putting there is when they had their son, the stepkids have now got a brother with him as well. So that almost the biological side of things, I suppose in effect, it's fixed things for him, because they've now got a blood bond, haven't they?
Yeah.
So,
It's like kind of like glue. It's like you have like this kind of cracked bond that you're a bit unsure of if it's like working or not, and then you kind of have that barrier there, like the glue, to kind of fix it all together.
Yeah, good, cool. Question 4. What support or advice would you give someone in a similar situation who is just beginning to experience life in a blended family?
So his response to this was, I think that it's definitely easier to form relationships with the kids when they're younger, as they don't know any difference, as opposed to when the child is older and knows a heck of a lot more. We all know about that, don't we? When kids start growing up a bit, and they might not necessarily know a great deal more, but they certainly think they do. I think the one thing that has made things easier is for his stepchildren, they don't see their dad. He says, as he's wrote on here, which I know that might sound horrible, but I think if they were to see their dad as well, if I was to have them all week and he see them at weekends, for example, it would be difficult for them,
Right.
being Graham and Vicky, because they're not actually having that family time together that they should be having. So, yeah.
Cool.
Good answers. Good answers.
The question 4, as you can see there, is kind of our takeaway.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about it, and the question 4 being the support and advice. Right, let's move on to Laura. So Laura, you may remember from our very first episode with Intrusive Thoughts. She was brilliant to message in and be brave and really open.
Wasn't Laura the shoplifter?
No. No, Laura wasn't the shoplifter.
Oh, the shoplifter was the anonymous. That's right.
The anonymous, yes. No, Laura came on and did a little bit. So thank you again, Laura. What we'll do, because you've done a video for us, we'll play that and we'll answer the questions and we'll talk about it and see what she says.
So I'm with Edie. We've been together 5 years. He has 3 children who, when we first met, were 9, 12 and 14. So how have I adjusted to the changes in family dynamics? I think at first I found it quite difficult because I was getting to know him, and then I had to try and get to know and get on with 3 children, which was a little bit scary. I tried to find out their hobbies and interests and, find a level ground with them, which I did. I think the most surprising thing about the transition was that we didn't stick to social norms. There was never any rush to move in together. We didn't want to, because it just disrupted the kids' routines and football clubs. Most surprising as well was I realised my mental age was probably a little bit younger than my actual age. My partner is 14 years older than me, and his oldest son is 14 years younger than me. So I kind of swayed between the two a little bit. different parenting again. I parent different to probably how Adi does, and that's fine. I think sometimes he tries to parent me, and I go, all right, Dad, as a joke, but...
So she's gone on there about the age difference between, and that happens so much. Like it's quite normal that. So that would be difficult because he's gone on past that. A little bit like you and Liam's 19, and then Marley, who's what now?
13.
13. Okay, so he's still getting on a little bit, but yeah, that would be difficult because you've forgot about that whole early stage. But like she said, she's only got one child, so she found it quite nice to have more, because then she was obviously then able to maybe be a bit more fun.
Well, it's kind of, say, finding her mental age, it's broadened the dynamic of age. So, like you said, she mentioned that her partner's 14 years older and his son's 14 years younger. So she's trying to find the age in between.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect because she can still be the sensible, loving parent, but then still go back and be daft as a brush with the 14-year-old.
That's perfect. Like, but she's being open to being 2 or 3 different types of parent there, and looks quite comfortable with the fact that he has his own style. Yeah. I don't think you both have to have the same style, do you, really, when it comes to the parenting? And that, in a blended family or not, there's that good cop sort of bad cop scenario. So that's good. But it's nice I think the surprising thing that I got from her there was that the age range. Yeah. I didn't, I wouldn't have thought of that without her saying that. So that's pretty cool. Let's have a look at her other video then.
So what challenges have I faced in forming relationships with new family members, and how have you navigated them over the past 18 months? So I think I've touched on it earlier. One of the big ones in difference of opinion is parenting styles. I am totally different to Adi. So basically, if the children need discipline, Adi will manage his children. I'll deal with Corey and be bad cop because that's what he needs. And I think it works out better that way, because then me and Adi don't end up arguing over what's been said or done. I think I'm a little bit full on with the language I might use, the terminology I might use, the punishment, like I might use like Xbox off Corey, no training, no football match, tough. Adi's children will call him soft. Not that I think he is, but they will. They know how to get around him. I'm a little bit more Sergeant Major. So yeah, that's how I deal with that. Just let Adi deal with his and I'll deal with mine. That might sound like I'm separating them, but I'm not at all.
I like how there's an opportunity there that the other parent, because it's not your blood parent, so to speak. Some people might find that more comfortable to go and speak, not to a stranger. It's obviously not a stranger, but do you know what I mean? I might feel exactly a bit more uncomfortable going to my dad.
Yeah.
Because he knows me and he man up.
Well, we had this discussion in the Man Up episode, didn't we? How, my daughter came to me to ask for some advice, and I just...
Oh, exactly that. That's right. Exactly that.
I literally palmed her off to Tash because I know she could handle that situation better than I could. I also know that when it comes to parenting style, one thing that I do, if Tash's son's being a pain in the backside, I don't tell him off. I tell Tash what he's doing, and Tash goes to tell him off. And she does the same thing with me and my kids. That's not anything we've ever spoken about, and it's not with... That's how we're dealing with it. It was just, I'd feel uncomfortable giving him a right royal telling off. But obviously Tash doesn't feel uncomfortable doing that with a child. And it's silly things. If, for example, Lily's got a telly on too loud at night, can you go and turn Lily's telly down? I was like, you've just walked past her door. You've just come from the bathroom. Just ask her to turn it down. Oh, I don't want to ask her.
Yeah.
So there's that. I don't know whether that will come in time.
It's the bad cop. Well, no, it's not even the bad cop, is it? It's that recurring theme again. I'm worried that they don't like me.
Yeah.
And I know we're looking at it's the parents who give us the answers in here. Excuse me, but that's not. Sorry, that is the recurring theme of "Do they like me?" So she's saying about social media, and I don't want to go on there and accidentally snitch or whatever it is just by being a parent. Yeah, I would find that difficult as well. So that's that. I guess it's a bit of an intrusive thought, is it not?
Yeah.
They don't like me. I think it's a communication thing. Like you, and I think with the relationship as well, you have to be solid in knowing each other enough to be like, I know his morals, I know what he believes in, I know how he's bringing his son up, and I guess if I don't agree with it, you speak to each other to one side and do it that way. I'll be honest, with my wife, I'm not particularly good at that. Sometimes we'll argue in front of Nathan. I know you shouldn't. It's sometimes difficult when, with your normal day-to-day family life, it's hard. And I would imagine in a blended family, it's probably even harder. You have to bite your tongue a lot. Good. So question 3.
Question 3. How do you manage balancing time between your biological family and new blended family? Has this been a difficult process? I think because me and AD live 75 miles away, it's not been that difficult balancing our time. I think you have to have probably a routine, a rota in place, and both be happy with it. And in that sense, happy means, you and your partner and the kids as well. I did struggle in the first few years that me and Brad did split up, not spending time with Corey all the time and letting his dad have time. However, I've grown to love it and I don't feel guilty at all. I actually like alone time and doing the things that I enjoy. So if you think I'm bad for that, no mind. That's just, I like it. But by the time he's coming back, I've actually missed him and I want him back. Just so you don't think I'm a bad person.
Solid.
I like that.
She's honest.
As honest as it comes at, isn't it?
Brilliant. Why not? Do you know what? Actually, part of being in a blended family is you actually some people will get a little bit of free time to themselves. So what she's doing there is she's looking forward to a little bit of her own time and space that it's allowed to have, and she's using it positively rather than, whatever. But yeah, no, brilliant. Okay, question 4. So question 4 is the advice. Question 4.
Question 4.
Question number 2.
That's the wrong one. Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Question number 2.
Blooper.
Get it in
Question
the
number
bloopers.
4.
Question 4.
What support or advice would you give someone in a similar situation who's just beginning to experience life in a blended family? How long you got? So the first thing I put was don't get too involved in the parenting side, discipline side with their children, and your new partner's ex. I've just never found it works very well. Don't do it straight away after a split. There's a lot of bad blood between exes, new partners. Take time to heal and get over it. I just think you need to make sure it's right for the children and yourself. This last one, I think, used to get to me in the first 2 years when Brent, my ex, first got with his partner Emma. Now it's absolutely fine. I get why she does it. But when she used to text me to organise stuff for Corey, I used to be like, but it's mine and Brent's child. What are you doing? Shouldn't he be doing it? But he hasn't changed. So I get why she does it. She likes to be organised like me and plan things. So I'm sorry I had that opinion, to be fair, because I think it were wrong of me and I hold my hands up. But, just if your ex-partner's new partner's texting you and trying to plan stuff, don't take it wrong way, basically. Sorry if these videos have been a bit too long. Look forward to the podcast.
Thank you.
Love a plug.
always down for a plug.
I like her advice there, actually. Maybe don't try too hard to get involved with the discipline side of things. But the bit I liked the most there was it's okay to feel uncomfortable at the start.
Yeah.
With your ex.
Yeah.
Or your ex's new partner.
Yeah.
That's the next dynamic, isn't it? And I can see why she would have felt uncomfortable in that moment.
Yeah. It was right at the beginning. It's all uncharted territory for everybody, isn't it? So
Well, a little bit of resentment. Don't forget you've been with that other person and like it's your child, isn't it? Or it's your child with that other person. So for a third party to come in and sort of, I'm doing this, and can you make sure you pack this and pack that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that. So, and now she's like, she's only being organized. You know, what she's actually doing is trying her best to integrate into her blended family.
Yeah.
She's also in that exact same scenario, regardless of sort of what's gone on in the relationship and stuff like that. But when it comes to the kids, they're all just trying their best to muddle through it as best they can. And if that was me, then I would like to be organized as well and try and do it. But that was some good stuff from Laura, actually. Thank you very much for that, Laura.
thanks, Laura.
Okay. The next one is from a friend of mine. I'll get the text message now. So this one is off a friend of mine, TJ, a friend back in Newcastle that I used to work with, really, really good friend of mine. So TJ says, there was always a closeness with us all, and the natural transition over the years was to move in together, which we did. I think the more surprising aspect was just how it actually worked out for us. I understand that this wouldn't be the same for everybody, but for us it was. The dynamic has changed massively over the years. The four of us have gone from living in three separate houses to all living in the same house as a family unit, and I love it, he says. So that's quite rare.
Yeah, I'd say that's quite rare.
Because it tends to stay apart. Your kids tend to stay with their moms and things like that, or directly with, you know, whatever. But yeah, look at that. I mean, he's had to go from two single mums, two single parents, and then all the kids all in as one big family unit. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
I think it's probably one of the best surprising aspects, isn't it?
Well, yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Question 2. I'm not saying it wasn't a challenge, because trust me, it was. Challenges happened regularly, but we worked past them. I think the hardest thing was it started as off a Team Jones and Team Smith. I like that. Whenever there was a fight or an argument with the kids, you would automatically back your team, even if your team was in the wrong. Okay, so that's dad sticking up for his son, mum sticking up for his daughter, right? I get that. It's just a natural thing, but the more time we spent together, the easier it became. We both had to learn to sit them down and talk it out, and eventually we'd get to the bottom of it and accept the fact that your child isn't an angel, even if you already knew that. But ultimately, we became one big team. So it's bias there, isn't it?
It's almost,
and that's completely natural.
It's almost an unconscious bias. You do it without knowing it.
Because you're protecting your child.
Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. And that's the thing as well. Like, in time, that protection of that child will come naturally with your stepchild as well.
Well, that's good. Does that? Every single one of these, what I've noticed, they all talk about time.
Yeah.
This is definitely a patience game, isn't it? I see what he's doing though. Team, his mom. Yeah, no, yeah. I get that, and it's good though to hear that they've now over time ended up one big team. Is this not similar to what I said earlier on? You start learning what your morals are and what my ways of parenting are, and then yeah. So the next was that Lucas lived with his mum, and she was always a blocker on a lot of things. Julie and I would make plans with the kids, and we'd go to pick Lucas up, only to be told I couldn't have him. Yeah, that's not great. I don't like that. For whatever reason, depending on her mood, This even happened on my birthday when we had a whole day planned, but because I hadn't dropped some clothes off, it was a no, which caused tension between Julie and I, as she was adamant I should get Sam told. However, if anyone knew Sam, they would know she isn't the easiest person to get on with or to get told. I've seen friends and family in relationships where the other, your ex, and it's horrible in it. I guess I think you are really lucky, like yourself, if it works out okay and you end up back the term around like friends, but you're never completely there because there's a reason you broke up. You don't agree with each other anymore. You don't, and it doesn't sit right, does it? So I get like that must be difficult when you're trying to organize things and it doesn't go your way. I guess I don't know, Andy. What do you think? How do you deal with that in the moment? What do you think's best there?
I think it's the same with pretty much everything we've said with this. Again, like time being the healer. And it's almost accepting, obviously, that he's moved from his ex-partner. She's set in her ways of, no, you're not seeing him. Yes, you could argue tubular in the face, but what good's that going to cause yourself, your ex-partner, and the child? It's not, is it?
No.
Whereas over time, things, hopefully, but it certainly sounds like they've gotten easier.
Well, it sounds like
they've got a lot
he's
better.
now living with him.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he doesn't have to do that. So I get that was his aim. So that's yeah. I wouldn't know how to give you any advice, unfortunately, on how to deal with crazy ex-partners. But I guess when it comes to the kids, you've got to put them first, right?
Yeah, of course you have, all day long.
Okay, question 4, which is the advice.
Question
See what the advice is.
4. So this is the takeaway. Right. So question 4, Paul. What support or advice would you give somebody in a similar situation who is just beginning to experience life in a blended family?
So, TJ says, my advice would be let your guard down. Talk, but more importantly, listen. It's a natural process for adults to get together. Not so easy for the kids. If the little one has a question, query, or concern, let them voice it and don't be dismissive of them. It'll lead to a far easier transaction from 2 to 1.
I like that.
That's a good bit of advice.
I like that. Let the guard down. If you haven't got your guard up, you're also opening yourself for all the good things as well.
It's kind of our ethos of the podcast, isn't it? This whole open up.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. We're picking all of these different topics. Man up, self-care and all of that, but every single one of them is all about opening up and maybe trying some things that are a little bit uncomfortable to get better. And me and Andy and Liam now, hopefully with his friends and his relationships, or if he ever ends up in that type of scenario, can get something from this as well. Later on, you might just remember, I know fine well that you two, since that, I know it's the same episode, but like when you were talking earlier on, that connection you had from the question that you had to ask can only be good.
Yeah.
Because you've opened up. Do you know what I mean? I know I go on about the other person. It's my favorite little thing, saying about the other person, but it's the opening up. Yeah. That's the same as the counseling. It's the same as everything else. So I hope that our friends there have given some good advice, and I hope there's something you can take away from either Andy and Liam talking, or not so much me, because I don't live in a blended family, so I don't like to sort of give advice and talk too much about something that I'm not. This is kind of your game anyway, isn't it? Really, I'll deal with all that sad, depressing stuff. But it's nice to. I say something in my vlog when I went for a walk the other day. And I'm encouraging people to get involved in other people's lives, in a sense. Yeah. Right? Now, the first thing, if we weren't doing this, the first thing you would probably say to me would be, you can't ask people to interfere. No one likes people who interfere.
Yeah.
And
keep your nose out.
Would you exactly? Yeah. And would you even want to?
No.
And half the time,
It's uncomfortable.
So what I'm trying to say is, I know that I was saying this the other day. I'm not saying go and interfere in everybody's lives. I'm just saying get involved and be susceptible and open to some uncomfortable questions or thoughts or moments or blended families, whichever it is, in that moment, just be open. And from everything that I've heard from every parent there and child is try this, try that, trial and error.
Yeah.
And actually put some effort in. You said it a lot earlier in the episode about really, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go. I'm not going to stand in the way or put a wall up. He's like, what was it? Teacher said, let your guard down.
Yep. Yep. Because like you said, positives can come from that as well. And all good relationships, whether it be with your partner, whether it be with your own children or stepchildren, they all need positive relationship. They all need positive connection with each other. They need that communication. They need to be able to build that bond. And the only person that can build a bond for yourself is yourself.
You'll teach yourself things during the process.
Yep.
I think I'm not particularly a very patient person. So I think
you're not. Are you not?
I am impulsive. No, I'm not. But I would imagine in that scenario, it's a sink or swim kind of thing. Like, but does it teach you a little bit of patience? Because you have to be. It's somebody else's child.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's somebody else's flesh and blood as well. It's like you say, you'd be massively protective over your own child. You are.
But it's the mental health side of it where it comes to the whole relationship stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you're open about what's going on and you're lying in bed thinking, oh, I felt really bad for telling her son or daughter off. But I'm just going to keep it in my head and not say anything to her.
Yeah.
Not really a good idea, that, is it?
No.
You know what, love? I wasn't sure if I did the right thing. Bit of feedback.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy. Are you, honestly? And it's almost the same response of, oh, it's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. And then 3 days later, have a blowout and argument about it because there was your chance to open up and speak about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, my advice there would definitely be the same as TJ's there, where it's very much be open, be yourself. Like Laura was saying, find some time for yourself, find some time for your family, get everybody together, do things together and build that network of trust.
One of the key things that Laura said as well was if other people don't like it, that's their problem.
That was all her full philosophy wasn't it?
Yeah. I absolutely love that. It's like, do you know what? Do what's right for you. Do what's right for your family, your blended family. Do what's right for you. If other people don't like it, they don't need to like it. They're not the ones living with it.
I mean, they are just 3 friends that have given us this. Imagine there would be so many different ones.
Yeah.
So it's all, everybody's families are completely different, whether they're blended or not.
Yeah.
So there's probably still stuff if you're watching this and you enjoy, if you enjoy the show and you watch all the other stuff about, how to cope with anxiety or how to do this and how to do that. The blended families one might not be your thing. There's a few bits in there that I think you could definitely take away though.
Oh yeah.
Even talking to your own kids.
Yeah, we do talk. I like to think the relationship that I've got with all my kids, I think it's brilliant. But earlier on, a couple of weeks ago when we was recording that, I'd forgot we was recording. Mm-hmm. I was stuck in the moment of
stuck in the middle.
I was actually stuck in the middle.
I
was stuck in the moment of I was having to take it all in.
Yeah,
and he threw a curveball completely, and then like you said yourself, after it all finished, it was like, oh yeah, we've recorded that.
How did you feel, Liam, getting that out?
I feel like getting something off your chest feels really good. I mean, it's a bit worrying, I'd say at first. It's like
scary, isn't it?
It's like, do I say this, or do I not? Do I kind of keep it in? But I feel like you feel that anxiety about saying something, but as soon as you say it, as soon as you get it off your chest, and I encourage people to try it. Like, get it off your chest, try it, and it feels amazing. Honestly, it feels great. Yeah.
Don't let it build
up. And if something does go wrong, pick yourself up and try again. You've got all the time in the world.
How have you enjoyed the podcast?
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being a guest.
Yeah,
free drinks.
Good fun, isn't it? The earphones that he had on in the first one are there. You just can't see them.
Yeah, they're not in Australia.
No, my wife has gone to Australia and took his earphones with her. So, no, thank you very much, Liam. I've really enjoyed having you on the show. It's been a really the whole show's been a bit of a curveball. Actually, it's been nice to maybe try a few different things and see. Let us know. Like we've always said, get your stuff in the comments and stuff. Get your stuff in the comments and stuff and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's like Graham put this idea in the comments.
Exactly.
And look where we've come from it. So if you've got any ideas, anything that you want us to talk about, throw them curveballs completely. Try and give us something that we haven't got a clue about. Because I like to learn new things. I know you do.
Oh, 100%. This all helps. We want this to be one big blended family.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it is. I don't care what language you speak or whatever, what colour skin you've got. I'm honestly, I don't care. Get the comments in. Come on, interact with the show. Interact with us and let's talk. Before we go, I do want to just go over, because I noticed that in the first couple of episodes, we kind of have our takeaways. And I guess you can go over the different shows and find out what they are. But I'd like to start just having a bit of a recap on what we did in the last show, just to whether we forgot to say something, or I don't want you to think that we're giving these hints, tips, tasks, takeaways without actually doing them myself. We didn't really talk about the eyes too much in the first one, although you did it quite well, didn't you? The self-care, I mean, that was all for us, everybody to see. Not that we really cared too much, but
I did take something from that, though. I took something from that, Paul.
Oh yes. So Andy is now using beard oil.
I am. I don't like it. It feels great on my face.
It does look a bit fuller.
It's not for me.
What, his face?
Well,
Thanks.
In our last episode, Man Up, the takeaway or task, as I like to put it, was to find somebody you trust for a 15 to 30 minute chat. If you had something, like the idea was to come up with a question that you had bothering you, even if it was I've snapped me key in my front door. Why that's just come into my head, I have absolutely no idea.
Definitely something I'd need to talk
that
about.
hasn't actually happened, did you? It just popped in my head. Whatever, it's something bad at work. But the idea was for you to just slightly open up and get them to say their thing. So I did that. So a friend of mine was having a few problems with the alcohol. We want to do the alcohol episode. Probably more me personally.
There were some good things in that episode.
I've had issues with the alcohol, not dependent, but it's about the choices that I've made and things like this, and just where it's been putting me. Anyway, I noticed this in a friend of mine who was struggling. He wasn't. I don't want to say who it is because I don't want to put them on the spot. But I said to him, I says, look, and I didn't really sort of say what was bothering me. I think it was more he was having a hangover. And I sort of says, oh, do you know what, mate? It's not the hangover that kills me. It's the feeling of, like, I get really depressed, like, for the whole week after drinking. And I think that was just enough for him to go, oh yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I've got a hidden agenda there where I'm like, come on, come into my talking hole. Come into my talking hole.
why's it got to be a hole? That just sounds fucking weird.
It does.
Come into my hole.
I'm going to leave that in. Yeah, so come into my trap. Anyway.
I've opened the doors for this conversation. There's a better way of doing it.
Yeah, that is the articulate way to maybe say it.
Yeah.
After he opened up to me, because I knew something was struggling and stuff like that, we had a half decent chat. And what it's turned into after that has been we're going to organise going not and having a beer because that would be counterintuitive. Did I get that right? Awesome. But I don't know whether we go and watch something or something. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's one of the lads' footballs or something like that. And the idea is to go and follow it on. And I don't want to stop. I want to make sure that I follow that on. That's the thing. So that's what I did. Have you had a chance to? In fact, let's since there's a guest here. We were only bothered when we were pretending that it wasn't like he was an actual stranger. now that we haven't really spoke to you much in the second part.
Yeah,
of this,
keep him out of it. I'm not that bothered.
I'll just say.
Have you had a chance to? Because I know you watch the episodes and stuff. Have you had a chance to speak to anybody in that sort of?
Well, yeah, I spoke to a friend of mine. It was more about me and my partner had an argument, and obviously I wasn't too happy about it because I was drunk at the time, and
Alcohol
obviously,
again, see?
yeah, I just wanted to talk to someone, and as I was speaking to them about like what was happening with me, they also like kind of came into my
Took the
hole.
opportunity.
and
Right. Thanks for that. You're too young for that.
so they obviously opened up to me as well, and
Yeah.
I thought it was quite nice to be able to like not only talk, because I don't like just talking at people. I also like listening and giving people like not feedback, but like just being able to make them know that I'm there to listen for them.
Perfect.
Like that their voice can be heard.
Be the other person.
Exactly.
I love that.
Be
Do you know
the
what I
other
mean?
person.
And it's one of the reasons that we aren't doing these podcasts on our own, because it would be difficult for me to just. I mean, I enjoy the vlogs, but my topics and thoughts are coming from what we do on this.
Yep.
This is my heart. The vlog is just the other little bit of my heart. I love the whole process with all of this, so it's nice that we get an opportunity to have guests in, with it being the first one as well.
Yeah.
Good, Andy.
Yeah, so as you can tell, I've had my hair cut. I was actually talking to my barber today.
Okay.
And genuinely, I talk to my barber regularly. I get my hair cut regularly. He's having issues at the minute with a good friend of his who's got a lot of mental health issues. And we always talk about it. Due to this, he watches the podcast, and due to this, he thinks I've got all the answers. I think that's what it is. And I basically, like I've said to him today, I haven't got all the answers, but you're taking on a lot on your shoulders from what's coming from your friend. And I've said, look, if you need anybody to talk to, I've said this the last couple of times I've been to see him. Every time I go, he opens up a little bit more. So I'm slightly opening the door.
Yeah.
The door's completely wide open from my side of things.
Yeah.
He's taking little steps in. So I'm going to keep persevering with that one, because
That's brilliant.
I feel that's...
The barbershop is notorious for that type of thing.
Yeah.
I seen it a few years ago when I was really sort of... I wouldn't say it my worst, because my worst has been not knowing what's happening with after the accident and stuff, but I heard something, or did I see it on the TV or something, and there's a particular barbershop, it might be in Birmingham, where it's a men's mental health barbershop. They actually brand it for that.
No way.
You go in there with the thought of, I'm going for a haircut, but I have an opportunity to go in here and talk. They are so relaxed. I've seen it. This was years ago I've seen this. Whether they're still I would like to know if they're still doing that. If they manage to see the episode, let us know. I want to go there for that haircut.
Yeah.
Back then I thought, do you know what I thought to myself? I couldn't go. I wouldn't. But this is the point, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Point, yeah.
So yeah, no, that the barbershop is definitely one of those. I know the women's hairdressers and stuff like that, you all like a good natter, but this is one of the reasons why women are particularly better at the whole opening up thing. This was my point the other week.
I'm all for coming to the barbershop with you, 100%. I won't get my hair cut, so I will not cheat on my barber. Simple.
I had a different barber. Can you tell?
Did he put more white in?
I laid myself out for that one, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. Yeah, it does seem to have gone a little whiter lately. And no, I don't dye it or highlight it. Thank you very much. And I'd rather not with the Philip Schofield joke, please. If you're all right. So, recap. Right, we've gone through loads, haven't we? To be fair, from the blended family questions, the advice that a lot of people, that Andy's been given, the advice that Liam's been given, a lot of stuff about the RAF mental health. And that was pretty good. I enjoyed that, and it's nice to know that your services are doing that. You've had a snippet of that with being in the fire service, so I guess you kind of understand that. And then I guess it's nice to get you guys involved. It's been brilliant having people come on and talk about their version of whatever it is, and we link it to the mental health. It would be brilliant if you're watching this and you have an opinion. We're encouraging everyone to talk amongst themselves, but get interact with us. Yep. I would love to know if what we're talking about is helping. Like on any of the episodes, if you feel like Graham has.
Yep.
If you feel, this sort of just touched on this, but I would love to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
We are more than open-minded enough to be able to put together, an episode on whatever it is. We definitely want to do the alcohol. I mentioned in the vlog, if you haven't seen the vlog, we have an absolute corker coming up in December where we go to a friend's gym and talk about how nutrition affects your mood. So It's totally linked with your mental health. I also mentioned, I'm kind of reiterating the same thing as I mentioned, there is a course that my friend does that he's going to be putting on our channel, and it'll help you, but it's ridiculously cheap. Yeah. I'll save it for when you see it, but I think we're putting more discount on it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sound like an advert because it's not. It's nothing for us. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them. Well, when that comes, but that's going to be in December, I think, isn't it? If you've enjoyed this episode and the other episodes, I'll put a link to the vlog in here, and because we're sick of him, I'll put it over his face. I'm gonna leave. In fact, no, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, and don't forget to press that notification bell so you don't miss any of the episodes and you can be right with us. We are going to be doing a live one soon. We haven't decided when yet, but it's gonna happen, so get that notification bell ticked.
So there's only one thing left to do, Paul.
So we all know these guys are all in. I'm all in.
Are you all in?
Yeah.